Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 9 of season 3 of our F125 Red Bull Driver Career Mode. Yes, we return this weekend here to Montreal and of course the Canadian Grand Prix. If you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Barcelona, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was a rather interesting one and as McLaren seemed to be beginning to struggle with Lando Norris, we are just continuing to ride on the momentum we have built early on this season. Taking a look at the current championship order, we have now got a 34-point buffer over Lando. We had a pretty good recovery drive from the rear of the field to keep our podium streak alive. Lando Norris, just, the last couple of races, 7th in Monaco, 12th in Spain. Are we starting to see McLaren have a bit of a downfall, or will he be able to bounce back this weekend? Carlos Sainz, of course, took victory at his home race as well, able to fend off my teammate Max Verstappen throughout the entirety of the event for his and Williams' second win of the campaign as well. So Williams could definitely still be a dark horse as we make our way through the campaign. Constructors-wise, we've got a pretty healthy 55-point lead, I believe, over McLaren there, as they have only got an 8-point buffer now ahead of Williams. Aston Martin and Ferrari, 1 point in it between them, and, well, the Mercedes downfall inside this series needs to be studied as well. I mean, you can just see Mercedes, they're not even ranked that badly inside this game. They just seem to be having a terrible time early on so far this year as well. But yeah, of course, if you're new around here and you aren't already, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 14k subs here on the channel. But without further ado, let's return to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Well, heading out then into qualifying here from Montreal. Honestly, I think this is going to be a tough one for us. We had a bit of a stinker out in Barcelona, but that was my own doing. Here, though, in Montreal, I just don't think the car has really got the one-lap speed. Combine that with the fact this is a circuit where the AI are very, very good inside this game over one lap. And yeah, I'll be quite happy, honestly. I think if we end up anywhere inside the top 5, Carlos Sainz is already almost down into the 107s here early on in the session. Sector 1 is where we're normally pretty quick, but it's the rest of the lap where we seem to lose out. Of course, as always, this first lap is a bit more just like getting a banker in, as there you go, Lando Norris seems to be back up to speed here immediately, dropping into the 107s. I mean, lap times, they're not as quick as they are in the My Team series, but they are still ludicrously quick inside this game, as trying to keep it clean and tidy through the wall of champion chicane there. Slap the wall on the exit. Run to the line, though. We do an 8-4. And I said I wanted the top 5, and that's exactly what we've done. Well, for whatever reason, we seem to be losing pretty much all the time down in Sector 3, so not really too sure why. But as we get ready then to start our last lap of anger here, I've got to make sure I get a really good run out of that final corner. We're still 4/10 up on our teammate Verstappen at the moment, but yeah, we need to keep it clean and tidy through Sector 1. There was definitely a little bit more time to find there as the back end trying to break away as we make our way out of Turn 2. Nice and tidy through the chicane there, through the exit. So we actually nudged the wall there slightly through the end of Sector 1. And then again, making a bit of a hash of the run out onto the back straight there, taking too much curb too early. And that has ultimately cost us, again, just a little bit of speed there. Slightly down as we make our way through the next chicane. That was good, though. You've got to really try and maximise the run off of that corner. And now we're 10th up as we make our way down in towards the final sector of the lap. I don't know where we're losing so much time around this part of the lap. I know there's definitely a bit more to find through the exit of the Wall of Champion chicane, but we need 0.6 of a second at the moment if we want to even get anywhere near Lando Norris. We found 3 of those tenths, and there's definitely a bit more through the final chicane there as well, as again, just slap the wall, actually getting stuck on the grass slightly on the exit. 4/10 up on the run to the line. We end up P4. Well, in another weekend then when Verstappen seems to be struggling, Lando Norris on pole position there, 2/10 clear of Carlos Sainz and Oscar Piastri. McLaren almost getting a front row lockout here. We will take P4 though. Honestly, very happy with that. We could have definitely got onto the front row had I not made that mistake through the final turn. Just, trying to maximise the run off the corner. Got a little bit stuck to the grass, and it kind of drags you out. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, decent effort to go 10th in that Mercedes, just ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto. But George Russell, who often does really well here, down in P17. Franco Colapinto on the back row of the grid. Why are Mercedes and Ferrari struggling so much this series?
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to the variant of this track back in 1978, and it was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history and could be the cause of a safety car today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Mr. Monaco, Esteban Ocon and Hamilton, Behrman, Albon, Verstappen and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Bortoletto, Stroll, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, Hülkenberg, Hadjar, George Russell and Jack Doohan. Colapinto and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Well, like I've said before, I want to try and keep our podium streak going for as long as I can inside this game. But yeah, I think with Williams and McLaren looking to be up to speed today, that is going to be rather difficult. Red Bull, again, though, want me to go on the alternate strategy. So I'm happy to try and make it work, as long as, obviously, we stay out of trouble early on in the race. Often, this could be a circuit where the two-stop happens. But if you take a look at the weather, if we get a red flag, we get a safety car, rain could be rolling in after the end of today's race. So let's see what we can do then. We need to keep it clean and tidy off the start. Both McLarens also on the hard. It is 5 red lights. Oh, and a mighty long hold there before it is finally lights out and away we go. And Carlos Sainz immediately then will try and get the jump on his former teammate. We're going to be under pressure from Esteban Ocon down in towards turn 1, but we should be able to withstand the pressure from him. As Sainz then immediately is going to try and streak away into an early lead there. That is critical for him on that slightly softer compound tyre, and he will want to try and get the run away from Lando Norris. Break that DRS before it ever becomes an issue for him. Like I said, these hard compound tyres should be able to do over 20 laps, but they are very, very sketchy in the first couple. Trying to get temperature into them can be not an easy feat inside this game, especially, you know, if you make a little mistake, you slap a wall, pick up a little bit of front wing damage, then you're in for a world of hurt throughout the rest of the afternoon. They're also, of course, not as responsive in kind of those quick changes of direction that are so important around this venue. Is almost into the back of Oscar Piastri as we make our way through the hairpin. And again then, that is going to leave me vulnerable to Esteban Ocon, who's going to try and look round the outside in towards the final corner. And I've said before, we're struggling with straight line speed this weekend. And Esteban Ocon has just gone and proved it there comfortably around the outside. Obviously, this is being done on the new patch on F1 25. It's actually the first career mode race I'm doing on the all-new patch as well. So it is going to be interesting. While both Aston Martins then opting for the same strategy as Carlos Sainz up at the front of the order, going with that medium tyre early on then, and already Ocon trying to apply some pressure to Oscar Piastri, as everybody's going to have the DRS though as we make our way down this back straight. But here goes Esteban Ocon round the outside of the McLaren man. We're just going to try and back out of it a little bit early and maybe get a run on Oscar out of the final corner. But Esteban then getting a decent run up into third place, as we will have a look down the inside of the Australian at that first turn as well. So immediately then trying to go around the outside off the exit of the corner and up then back into P4 of this race. Sainz is gone up front. But it will come down to the second half of the afternoon. How long will those mediums be the better tyre? And how well can we manage our ERS? Well, this race then just beginning to stabilise out a bit early on here. And, well, for the first time this season, looks like Aston Martin have got some real speed to challenge up at the front. Maybe with the exception of Monaco. But, of course, Monaco is always a weird track. And to be fair to him, Esteban Ocon actually goes very, very well around the venue as well. But, oh, Esteban just making a little bit of a mistake there. That might take him out of the DRS of Lando Norris in front. I believe that will as we've now got an engine warning light flashing up early on, so hopefully that isn't going to be too much cause for concern. But hopefully we can try and move past SD Bestie then as we make our way down the back straight. Oscar Piastri has really struggled behind me to match the pace of your front runners. So there we go, back up then into third spot this afternoon. So I'll really try to attack that curbing through the final chicane. Obviously you get the second use of DRS as well, just to give yourself that breathing room. But yeah, Lando and I now starting to close in on Carlos Sainz here again. The mediums, they are very good, but just maybe not for that long. Well, Lando Norris then, he's steadily bringing in this gap to Carlos Sainz. In fact, he's almost back inside the DRS then. As Esteban Ocon had been able to hang on to our coattails for a good few laps, but seems to have dropped away now into P4. I think I want to get past Lando, though, before he gets inside the range of Carlos, just so we can be the one to attack the Spaniard. As around the outside we will go then, when we use the battery against the car. Whoa, with 0 DRS. Oh, we were able to make it happen there as just clipping the rear wheel on the grass through that final corner. Lando will go back by, and so will Esteban Ocon.
Quite meet our targets. Not to worry, get your head down and chin up, and let's focus right the way into the checkered flag.
So easy to do around this venue, but immediately, look at that, Ocon, he's got no power off of turn 2 then, so we'll make the overtake back again almost immediately. But yeah, I think that did cost both Lando and I just a little bit of time. And now I've got to try and get back in his DRS range again. Oh, Lando just getting a little bit of a wobble then, as we finally caught back up to him. And now we might be vulnerable before we even get to the DRS zone then. The McLaren trying to swing defensive. Or we will run ourselves a bit deep through the corner. And immediately try and get this old up and under on him then. And off the exit of the corner, similar to what we saw between the McLaren duo IRL, we are now able to hopefully get the move done on Lando Norris once again. Just trying to hang on in there, but we finally get by as Carlos Sainz immediately into the pit lane, and I've been completely distracted by that and thrown off again. How on earth have I not picked up damage as we will try and get the car going again? No idea what happened there then, but Verstappen's going to go by, Albon's going to go by. Luckily, I think we're only going to lose a handful of spots, but most importantly of all, how did I not get front wing damage? Must have hit the wall at exactly the right angle, but really struggling then through that final chicane once more. Like I said, all it was Carlos Sainz there pitting. I was so kind of distracted by that that I just did not spot my braking point. And now again, we have got even more positions to try and climb. As the hard tyre is already feeling very slippery. Well, Carlos Sainz then, he must be on a 2-stop strategy here, as I think, yes, so is Esteban Ocon and Alexander Albon then, both peeling into the pit lane as well. So this is going to be really interesting as we get towards the end of the afternoon. It is now McLaren 1-2 then, with Red Bull P3 and P4. But hopefully we're going to be able to go quicker than our teammate. There is rumblings going on inside Red Bull at the moment that Verstappen is not best pleased with me being his teammate. Especially, I think, because we are showing him up. So, yeah, could there be a bit more Red Bull rivalry as we make our way over the course of the season? Only time will tell. But unless I decided to switch to a 2-stop strategy today, we have got to get much better at looking after those rear tyres, and that is not the way to do it. Huge drift down in towards the hairpin. Just pretty much kept the car completely on opposite lock right the way through. And you can already see those sights only 6 seconds back after making his first pit stop of the day. So, of course, if he gets back to us, he's probably still going to be quicker towards the end of the afternoon. Can I get a run on Verstappen? I don't think so this time round. So we'll try and recharge the pack and go for it again when I get the chance. I mean, Sainz just on this lap alone has gone about a second quicker than me. So definitely the Williams man. Obviously, maybe not on the most, orthodox strategy here, but still flying along then to the outside of Verstappen we will go. And I think our teammate there wanted to give me a big old squeeze down at the final corner, but goodbye, Max Verstappen. Up then into P3 once again. Looks like we've got good pace still against those McLarens when I'm getting the lines nailed. But I think, Carlos behind is still going to be a big threat by the end of the afternoon.
Okay, mate, car behind is Max. They are faster than you. Do you understand? They are faster than you. Let them through, please, mate.
I mean, I already said that Verstappen, apparently not happy with the team at the moment, obviously, with the fact I'm doing better than him. And, well, clearly Red Bull are perhaps trying to repay the favour to him, try to win good graces of the Dutchman once more. Apparently we have got to let Max Verstappen by. That will not be happening. Oh, there you go. I didn't know that was possible inside the game. So if Verstappen drops far enough back, then the team tell me I don't need to let him by anymore. Would it be useful a couple of times, obviously, when Fernando Alonso was applying the pressure to us? But, yeah, Max Verstappen maybe losing this psychological battle down at Red Bull. But, of course, yeah, obviously, we know how much kind of say he has within the team. See, maybe this is going to be the only year I get to drive for the Red Bull organisation. This Red Bull then starting to light up like a Christmas tree as we finally get to our pit-in lap. Engine warning light, tyre wear warning light. Everything's going on at this stage of the race, but happy that we're going to be able to bin off this set of the hard compound tyre with Lando Norris into the pit lane. Oh, we will just get the car slowed down on the way in then. Really did not want to lock up the rear tyres there, as Oscar Piastri will inherit the lead of the day. Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and of course Verstappen all going through. So we get a little bit held there trying to get the car dropped back off the jacks. Will we come out ahead of Lance Stroll? Yes, because he's diving into the pit lane as well. So then it's Behrman, one of the Mercedes, and one of the Ferraris. So out onto the circuit we will go once again then. I know I've still got to look after these medium tyres towards the flag. But Lando Norris, 2 seconds up the road. Come on, we've got to try and chase him down. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. Looks like an Aston Martin span, and could that cause some chaos here? Are they okay? Yep, Esteban Ocon seems to have been able to get going again then, so yeah, really at a critical stage of this race as Esteban Ocon made an error there, and I think Lando Norris maybe just got the DRS as well as the free position. So Ocon having a really good day out in that Aston Martin so far, but immediately has put pay to that as Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen into the pit lane. We should have the jump on Oscar, I would hope, as Esteban diving back in then, or slapping the wall through that final corner as well. But yeah, we should be comfortably ahead of Oscar Piastri then in this race. Williams now with both cars on the podium temporarily, and Hamilton always used to go well round here. He is up to P2.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Oh, that is not good. I know we've had an engine warning light on, but please don't say that is going to be the difference maker.
0.1 seconds.
Just trying to get the car rotated in then. Maybe it's an issue with the aerodynamics on the car, but is this engine about to go bang? Well, this happened back in Shanghai and ended up being okay for us.
ERS is offline. We're currently looking into the problem.
Should be okay. I mean, it's going to make the car very, very slow for a couple of laps. But then after that, weirdly, in Shanghai, we ended up with more ERS than the AI are able to use.
Back online now. The guys have fixed the problem.
Look at that. It's recharging down the straight. Oh, this is because we were on none. But yeah, we might now actually be quicker. Well, Sainz then as well has just peeled back into the pit lane and come back out. Only 4 seconds behind us. So he's going to be very, very quick towards the end of the afternoon. But weirdly, he's actually opted for a set of the hard compound tyre again, so clearly enjoys those harder tyres. But yeah, will he therefore have the speed in that car to close back in towards the end? Only time will tell. As I'm sure Alex Albon then about to peel into the pit lane. Yes, he does. So Lando Norris is going to be back up to the top spot here after a couple of disappointing races. The McLaren man looks to be in control late on here. So we will set a new fastest lap of the day. Told you that ERS is a bit funky, I think we're going to describe it inside this game. Is that going to allow us to close back in on the McLaren man? 12 laps to go. Still a lot left in this Grand Prix. Oh, we've got yellows as we start lap 28. Was just beginning to think how weird it is that nobody has broken down in this race, and it looks like it's an Alpine then that maybe has gone up in smoke. Is that going to be Jack Doohan? No, it's Pierre Gasly out of the race.
The problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
Can't even remember. Is Jack Doohan still in this series, or is Alpine got a different lineup now? Either way, Gasly's out of it. And yeah, that's going to leave us with yellow flags out down at the final couple of corners. I actually thought for a while we are closing in on Lando Norris, but Oscar Piastri was going quicker than me behind. His pace seems to have stalled, so does Carlos Sainz's. So it does look like this is going to be a dogfight between Lando and I towards the end, if I can get in the range.
Okay, mate, Lando ahead. We don't want to let this hold us up too long, so do your best to get past and get on with the race.
Oh, there we go then. Team now have made the order. I mean, we're going to try and win this race anyway, but they want me to try and get past Lando Norris before the final lap then. We know that's when the AI will tend to dump their battery, so, and especially, look how good this McLaren is off of this corner. I'm using as much battery as I can, and we are generally still losing out towards the top end speed there. That McLaren has just got an extra sort of 2 or 3 miles an hour in it, which is making it rather difficult to try and close in. Nice line through that final chicane though. We are definitely getting there. It's just that age-old debate. Do you try and use up a load of ERS to make sure you're inside the DRS range and then hopefully have an easier time? Or do you just try and slowly rock up? Of course, it's risky either way. You either don't end up with a DRS, or you get the DRS, make a little mistake like that, and then have no way of closing back in once more. Oh, there we go, end of lap 32. We have finally been able to get ourselves just about in the range then of Lando Norris. But I mean, look at that, even with the DRS, they barely take anything out of him. We've just got to now be really strategic, charge up the battery pack over these next couple of laps there, make sure we've got as much as we possibly can. But of course, I've got to meet the team's objective as well. I've got to get around him before the last lap. Otherwise, yeah, the team won't be happy with me. I'm still trying to get all the achievements inside F125. And one of those is get a driver 99 rated. I don't know whether I'm going to do that in this series or the Lewis Hamilton career mode. But either way, yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Well, I think Oscar Piastri pushed a little bit too hard too soon in this final stint. I think he wanted to get in my DRS range so he could try and close in on Lando Norris there. And with a lap to go, he is coming under more and more pressure from Carlos Sainz a little bit further behind. Verstappen's not too far back to try and pounce as well. If these two have a bit of a coming together there, but not getting the run off of that chicane like we need to. I'm going to have to drain a load of battery down in towards the final couple of corners to meet the team's objectives. But Lando and I both now beginning to really struggle with the rear tyres there. You can see how hesitant both of us are being as we try and get the power down out onto the back straight there to the outside of the McLaren man. We will go. Oh, just about getting around in there, but we clip the wheel on the grass, and that's going to compromise our run off of the corner. But into the lead we go with this race. But Lando Norris there, despite not having the DRS, is still going to get the run on me in towards turn 1. Whoa, we run ourselves very, very wide. Whoa, come on. Got to try and keep the car in check there as Lando Norris thought about having a look for a run to the inside at turn 1. Could not make it happen though, but of course that might mean we're going to be vulnerable down towards the end of the lap. Perhaps that was his master plan. Just obviously sit behind now and try and get a DRS run back on me. We are parking this Red Bull on this final lap here. We want to obviously try and convert for another race victory, but more importantly than that, we need to get another podium here as through the chicane we go. Here's Lando Norris. Oh, he's dropping away actually. I think the McLaren man, his tyres might have completely hit the cliff on this final lap then. Either that, or he is trying to save up a little bit of extra battery. But as we get the power down off of the hairpin one final time, Lando Norris, he's got nothing here as we make our way down in towards the final couple of corners. He'll still have the DRS, of course, and he will obviously get those big gains with that as well. But in towards the final chicane, one final time then, Lando Norris has not got enough. It is going to be victory here in Montreal.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing, mate. Well done.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You nailed it from the start.
A truly magnificent drive and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada.
And you can really tell that they're taking this one step at a time, one race at a time, and getting the points on the board when it matters. That's what it's going to take, consistency and the bigger picture.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
Well, there we are then. From 4th on the grid, it is going to be P1 come the checkered flag there. Just 2 tenths in it between myself and Lando Norris as things got very nip and tuck on that final lap. Oscar Piastri does a very good job to hang on for P3, just ahead of Carlos Sainz. I think Williams will look back and kind of regret the strategy they chose. Gave Carlos the lead early on, but just could not maximise the stints later on in the day. Verstappen in 5th, just ahead of Alexander Albon. Charles Leclerc ahead of Lance Stroll there. He gets points at his home Grand Prix. Esti Besti, disappointing end for him after strong pace early on, with Franco Colapinto from the back of the field recovering for that final points-paying position. Ollie Behrman ahead of both Mercedes outside of the points. Lewis Hamilton on a 4-stop strategy down in P16. No idea what happened to him, as Pierre Gasly was our only driver that failed to see the checkered flag. What does that do to the World Championship? Well, it means now our buffer at the top up to 41 points over the McLaren there. Carlos Sainz still in 3rd, just ahead of Leclerc and Verstappen. Look at that. 3 points in it between Leclerc, Verstappen and Alexander Albon. Oscar Piastri still in 7th, ahead of Ocon, Hamilton and George Russell, as Colapinto brings that gap down by just a single point here. A lot of drivers, though, have scored so far this season. It is still just Doohan, Bortoletto, and those V-carbs. Constructors-wise, though, Red Bull further extending that gap over McLaren at the top of the table. Williams, though, not too far behind in P3. Ferrari re-jump Aston Martin, and Mercedes still at a Haas, Alpine, Kick Sauber, and, of course, V-carb. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for, I believe, the Austrian Grand Prix.